Of two co-chairs, obviously co-chairs, for the Walleye Task Group. So today I'm here to present to you the summary of the 2017 Walleye Task Group report. Where's my... Here? Can I get notes on this? Or is it on that one? Fantastic. My numbers might be a little off now. So it's important to note that I am not the only one that puts all this together. It's a group of individuals from Michigan, New York, Ohio, Ontario, and Pennsylvania that come together to put all of this work together for us. We meet almost annually at the Old Women's Creek facility in Ohio. So we thank them for the use of that facility. And we did again this year to put together the binational assessments and the recommended allowable harvest. We do this by through a structured process through charges put forward to us from the LEC. This year's charges were to maintain the centralized time series data sets as we get every year. Charge 2 was to improve existing population models. And then charge 3 was to report the recommended allowable harvest, and charge 4 was to provide some guidance as far as tagging strategies. For this presentation, we'll focus primarily on charges 1 and 3. If you're interested in the other ones, you can talk to any of the Walleye members, Walleye Task Group members, or it's contained in our report. This was to remind you that this presentation is completely different than previous years. We're going to start by doing RH, followed by the high-level synopsis, and then some details. Originally, this was completely different, but Mike kind of stole my thunder on the last one, copying the format slightly. So it's going to follow a very similar format to what Mike did, except we have recommended allowable harvest. So the recommended allowable harvest for 2018 is approximately 6.7 to 7.1 million fish. This is where I'm going to get my numbers screwed up. This number is derived by the Walleye Task Group applying the harvest control rules, which is a 60% FMSY, a fishing rate of 60% FSMY, and a lower reference point limit fishing rate of 20% spawning stock biomass to our statistical catch at age model. That produced an estimated a projected population abundance for 2018 of approximately 42 million fish. I don't have the numbers. I apologize, exact numbers, but it's around 42 million. This gave us a range, an RH range calculated of approximately 6.7 to 10.9 million fish in that range, with a mean of approximately 8.8 million. This mean of 8.8 million falls outside of the 20% increase rule, and that's how we come to our range of 6.6 to 7.1 million fish. That's illustrated on this graph here. It's important to note too that we didn't have to imply the limit harvest control rule this year because the probability of overfishing the spawning stock was less than 0.5% or less than 5%. So as far as our high level synopsis goes, what we observed in 2017 was higher recruitment compared to 2016. The estimated population size for 2017 was higher. It was 80% higher, highest we've observed since 2007. The projected this projected population size for 2018 was 23% lower than the estimate for 2017. Performance in the fishery, harvest was up in both the commercial and sport fishery. Effort was up in the sport fishery and with a decline in effort in the commercial fishery, and this led to these results led to our RH of approximately 6.7 to 7.1 million fish, again being capped out at that 20% rule. Just to remind everyone, the walleye management is accomplished in two major regions, the TAC area and the non-TAC area. The TAC area consists of management units 1, 2, and 3, with the non-TAC area management units 4 and 5. Moving on to look at some more detailed information from this year. So as far as our recruitment index, this comes from our interagency trawl program. This is a combined survey between Ohio and Ontario. Fish are examined as a number of fish per hectare. This is where we're at this year because I don't have my numbers. I believe this is approximately 23 fish per hectare in 2017 was recorded, compared to a high of, I believe it's 189 in 2003. And in 2007, which was the next highest year, we're at approximately, I believe it's 98 fish per hectare. So recruitment this year in comparison is considered moderate. This was preceded by a weak to moderate year class in 2016, that strong year class in 2015, and a moderate to strong year class in 2014. So we have a lot of new fish entering the system in the last 4 years. Moving on to our abundance. Our abundance estimates are derived from our statistical catch at age model. So our projected abundance for our estimated abundance for 2017 is approximately 58 million, I believe, with the projected abundance of for 2018 of approximately 41.8 million. We expect, the Walleye Task Group expects this projected abundance to increase with subsequent years, similar to that that was observed in 2003, because we had a lot of H2, there's a lot of reports of a lot of H2 throwbacks in the system. Moving on to look at our fisheries performance, we'll look at catch and quota, harvest, effort, and then harvest rates, or catch for the amount of effort. So as far as harvest goes, of the 5.9 million fish allocated last year, approximately 77% were caught, or about 4.5 million fish. Of that, Ontario harvested 3.2 million, or about 127% of their quota. So it's important to note for Ontario, Ontario has to back convert fish in the numbers of fish allocated to a weight that then gets allocated to the commercial fishery. This is done through a correction which looks at estimated harvest as well as the estimated size at age. So the estimated size at age is calculated based on a 3-year mean. This over harvest represented approximately 88% of the harvest by weight for that year based on that calculation. And these over-quoted numbers of fish comes from a lot more smaller fish being caught in the system than was expected. Ontario is working to correct this correction factor moving forward to adjust for these smaller fish that are in the system and being caught in high numbers. Oh, sorry, I forgot the rest of that slide. Ohio caught approximately 42% of their quota, and in Michigan caught 16%. Or for Michigan, that's about 60,000 fish. Commercial harvest was up 64% to about 3.3 million fish. Excuse me. And then the sport harvest was also up 50% from about 1.1 million in 2016 to 1.6 million in 2017. Walleye effort by fishery. So the commercial fishery was down 2% from the previous year. This is approximately 20.5 or 20,500 kilometers of gillnet effort, which is above the long-term mean, which sport fish effort was also up to 3.2 million angler hours over the previous year. This is still below the long-term mean of approximately 5.1 million angler hours. Catch and effort, not surprisingly, was up 68.9%, or about 160 fish per kilometer of gill net for the commercial fishery. And the sport harvest rate was also up to 0.48 fish per angler hour, which is above the long-term mean of 0.43, and a significant increase over last year. Moving on quickly here to talk about some fishery characteristics, we'll look at age composition and mean age. So approximately 82% of the fishery is comprised of ages 1 through 3 fish. 4 through 6 contribute a lot fewer fish, and then age 7 plus is approximately 8% of the combined sport and commercial harvest. It's important to note here that the sport fishery harvests significantly fewer fish in comparison to the combined of age 2 fish, and this is attributed to a greater number of throwbacks and a slot size limit for the Ohio fishery predominantly. Consistent with this fishery that's now being supported by younger fish, the mean age has continued to decline from the peak in 2005, where it peaked out at 6.7 years old average age in the sport fishery and 6.1 years old in the commercial fishery, to 4.1 years old in 2017 in the sport, and 3.0 years or 3 years old in the commercial. So just to recap, recruitment was up for 2017, population estimate was up for 2017, projected for 2018 is down from that estimate of 2017, but the Walleye Task Group does expect this to creep up with subsequent years of data for the statistical catch age model. Harvest was up in both fisheries, both the sport and the commercial fishery, with an increase in effort in the sport, a decrease in effort in the commercial, and this led to our RRH of 6.7 to 7.1 million fish being capped out with the 20% change rule. Important to note, this is also the highest RRH observed since 2006, so we're on the up. Full report can be retrieved from the Great Lakes Fish Commission website or by asking any of our task group members. I believe there's some copies out on the desk too. Just like to thank the QFC, the GLFC, and then the Ohio DNR for providing the facilities for our annual meeting. Sorry I tripped through that. I lost all my notes.